So, you guys ever catch yourself curled up on a couch watching a movie when all of a sudden that movie starts speaking to you? I mean, it may be a family film and all, but there's just something like that one scene where you're just like, that's just speaking to me. It may be a family film, but for a moment you're having church. You know what I'm talking about? You are having church up in your house while you are watching that movie and doing popcorn and movie night with them kiddos, right? Right? You ever had that happen to you? Well, I've had that happen to me at least a couple times here recently, and both of them running along the same vein. The most recent one was in VeggieTales called A Snoodle's Tale. Look, my kids are 4 and 6. Y'all bear with me, all right? So in this one, this little snoodle is created and comes with all of these gifts in his bag. As he's trying to find himself, he looks to these gifts he's been given and he thinks, well, I must be this. Like, I must be an artist and I must be able to fly and I must be able to do all these things. But as he tries to operate in these gifts, people make fun of him and really tear him down. Eventually, by the end, he meets his maker who paints this little snoodle a picture of him as he, being his creator, sees him and who he's made him to be. He points out that while the others may be using their gifts to tear him down, it doesn't change who he created him to be. So the other one that we had happened to watch the day before was the Chronicles of Narnia and the Tale of Prince Caspian. Now, I love some C.S. Lewis, okay? Now, in this one scene, little Lucy, envious of her sister, reads out this spell saying, make me she whom I'd agree is more beautiful than me, or something like that. Anyways, so next thing you know, she is terrified as she sees this being played out where she wasn't in the picture anymore, and she starts freaking out like, oh no, I want to go back, right? So at this point, Aslan is talking to her and he says, Lucy, you wished yourself away and with it so much more. This bit took my mind to pondering who really loses out when we try to become someone other than who God has made us to be. We may wish that we were like, I don't know, an Ashley Judd or a Beth Moore or whoever, right? Maybe somebody that we just think is just prettier than us or has it all together or whatever we think they are. Or we may just want to see ourselves in a different place than where God has us. But what we have to understand is that who we are not only plays a role in our relationship with God and what He has placed us here for, but it also plays a key role in the lives of all those around us and who He's made us to be in the lives of all those around us, right? In Matthew 16:15, we read, "But what about you?" He asked. "Who do you say I am?" Jesus never ceases to amaze me in His skill and precision in using so few words to speak volumes. And this question here demonstrates that perfectly, right? I guess me, in my own ponderings, I have to wonder what implications it would have if we, pose that same question to Him. Like, I say, you are Jesus Christ. You are my Lord. You are my Savior. You are my everything. Who do you say that I am? Now, that may be silly to think about, but what if He was the first and the last that we asked in our quest to discover ourselves and our true identity, right? The world will always have its fair share of things to say about us, and sometimes it won't be so pleasant. Still, more often than not, I think the world doesn't have near as many things to say about us, especially as many negative things to say about us as we tend to have to say about ourselves, right? I would never argue that we should be prideful or arrogant or anything like that. There's much to be said for humility, that ever elusive trait. Once you think you have it, you don't, right? Still, many women struggle with the ways that they label themselves and fail to see how the labels that they're giving themselves are actually becoming the hindrances before them. Even when we've not expressly said it, many women identify themselves with being weak or incapable, undesirable for the task at hand, any number of things. So if we want to be really honest, some of us seriously need to change our minds about ourselves. I mean, seriously, seriously. We have let the past define us. We have let friends and family define us. We readily believe with certainty the claims that peers make about us, even people that don't even really know us. There could be somebody plucking away, making a comment on the internet, commenting on our feed that we just met in some social group, and they don't even really know anything about us, and they say, oh, well, you're blah, 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 blah. And we're like, oh my goodness, I must be. With stealth speed, we tend to receive the indirect claims that well-crafted ads make about us as they continue to affirm over and over that we're not good enough the way that we are. We're either too tall or too short, too skinny or too fat, too smart, too dumb, too serious, too silly, too emotional, too indifferent, whatever it may be. We have no trouble in believing them because they tend to only be affirming a lot of the things that we've already thought about ourselves, or at least fostering our own inclinations towards negativity and self-doubt and self-destruction. The word says that we will refute every tongue that accuses us, but have we refuted ourselves when we come at ourselves with these thoughts and words that would tear us down? I find it interesting that we are so quick to accept the things that the world would say about us. Yet let God come alongside us and start telling us what he thinks about us. And we're all like, no, God, that can't be. Look at what I've done, and look at what I've said, and look at who I am. And we have such a hard time accepting what our Maker says about us, what he speaks over us. We readily and tightly clutch the words that the world would speak over us to dull our shine, yet wrestle with believing God when he says that we are beloved, that we are treasured and valuable and precious to him. The word says in Zephaniah 3:17, the Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love, he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. The problem with guilt and shame and all their comrades is that they give us a reason to believe that we should be hiding. And that is how candles or lamps get hidden under bowls. Are you catching that? What does the word say? In Matthew 5:14-16, we read, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. God spoke that over you, knowing full well every shortcoming, every mistake, every total disaster that you could ever bring about in your life. But you know what? The idea that the enemy can hide our light is not historical, and it's not scriptural either. In the face of opposition and in the darkest of nights, that's when God's church shines at its brightest. The enemy may challenge us, but he cannot be the one to cover up our light and hide our shine, because that light from within us is beyond his control. See, that light within us comes from God within us, but we forget that. We get self-conscious, becoming overly conscious of self, and forget what's at work within us. When we do that, we have a tendency to retract because we feel inadequate and insufficient for the task that lies before us. When you take a man or a woman and you stand them up against a God-sized dream, yeah, you're inadequate. Yeah, you're sufficient. And it's a good thing. The things God has for you are going to be beyond you, and he wouldn't have it any other way. And I think that as you start to see all the things that he can and will do through you, you wouldn't have it any other way either. God is not taken aback or disappointed by your inadequacies. He uses them as opportunities for growth and for demonstrations of his affection, for demonstrations of his power in your life, but never to diminish you. God is not out to tear you down but to build you up. He is not looking to point out all of your faults and say, "See, you screwed up again," or "You failed me again." You know, we've got to get past this way of thinking where we feel like God is always out to just whomp us over the head and He's just always out to get us. You know, that is not the heart of God and the attitude of God towards His children. He knows what you're capable of on your best and worst days. He knows what He has placed in you, and He is calling you, His beloved, to rise and shine. In preparing these notes, I just got so excited in reading Isaiah 60 on the glory of Zion, where it says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you, and His glory appears over you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn. The sun will no more be your light by day, nor will the brightness of the moon shine on you. For the Lord will be your everlasting light, and your God will be your glory. Your sun will never set again, and your moon will wane no more. The Lord will be your everlasting light, and your days of sorrow will end." That's the inheritance that you have been made part of. You are a child of the Most High. I am not saying this like we should get all cocky about it, or that we should just get that warm, fuzzy feeling, you know, but that should provoke a joy in us, an overflowing, radiant joy that we are champions, we are victors, we are beloved, we are treasured, we are actually chosen and loved by God. The word says that you are a royal priesthood chosen by God Himself. You're not just some extra body. You have been specifically chosen and crafted and dearly loved by your Creator. You got to stop hiding behind the labels that the world would give you. That's not who you are. When you learn to look at yourself in this way, with these key measures being the ones by which you define yourself, you are going to see yourself unleashed in incredible ways, to live an incredible life. Not because you're so awesome, but even though I do think you are pretty stinking awesome, but because your God is the most awesomest awesome God that there ever was, right? When you learn to look at yourself in this way, with these key measures being the ones by which you define yourself, you're going to see yourself unleashed in incredible ways to live an incredible life. And not just because you're so awesome, even though I do think you're pretty awesome, but because you serve the most awesomest awesome God that there ever has been and ever will be. The enemy does not want you to get a hold of who you are in Christ, because he knows that once you start entangling your mind around who you are in God and who God has made you to be, that's where you become unstoppable. So now it's your turn. Tell me, what thoughts about yourself do you believe have been real barriers in your life and in your journey? You know, we're doing this challenge looking to help you to get back on track with your health. So what thoughts do you feel have been real hindrances to your health, but also in any other area of your life? What thoughts do you feel like God is challenging you to ditch today or embrace today? So I want to hear about it in the comments below. Where you guys are at on this one. I look forward to following up with you guys and seeing where you're at. I hope that you are enjoying an incredible week and can't wait for the opportunity to get to connect with you guys again. Until next time, take care. God bless. Have a great evening, and I'll see you guys soon.